Good evening and salutations, my young and restless fans. I'm gonna be completely 100% honest. This show, it's so difficult to get past. Like watching Friday's episode was just it was excruciating. I just finished watching it today. Here's the thing about this show. There's times where it has some interesting characters. Victor, Billy, this whole Jesse Gaines thing, and you got Ashlyn. Victoria is just a nightmare to watch. She is an absolute nightmare to watch. I just there's a lot of times I have so many. It's so difficult to sit there and watch this woman because she comes across as a complete and utter bitch, and just in the worst way possible. I mean, granted, there's really no good way, but still. Um, and what I'm gonna kind of do this out of order because goodness, I feel like I want to complain more about this show than actually do the review because I'm just gonna do it in the order that I see fit. So the wedding actually happens. Um, they finally do get Jesse. He shows up, I guess, in someone's room. I don't know if it's Victoria's room, but Nicholas catches him, and Nicholas is like, "What's going on?" And Jesse um, tells Nicholas, like, "Yo, listen, your dad knew all about this. He knew all about, Ashton Locke's past." And this is the part where it's just so stupid. Unless, okay, because Billy got the scoop. He sent the video to Billy. And I feel like it's going to be more than just simple, oh, he forced someone's will to sit there and get money and stuff like that. It's more than that. Okay, I have a feeling that that whole thing with his best friend, that was not an accident. I have a feeling it wasn't an accident. I don't know if he did something by accident, but I felt like that was an accident. They weren't just driving crazy and then, he got magically ejected from the car while his friend didn't. Um, so I feel like there's more to it, and I feel like we're probably gonna sit there and find out it on, I don't know, sometime next week. this show is so. This show could be interesting, but at times it can be so boring. Oh my goodness, watching these episodes is so. How does everyone do it? How does anyone actually watch this show? I genuinely want to understand, how does anyone watch this show? I know I was supposed to sit there and do this whole review, and I'm going to get to it, but like, how does anyone actually sit there and watch this show? Um, it's not to talk about Victoria's dress, which Sally did give her the dress, and at first she was acting like how she usually acts, but then she thanked her at the end, and so I didn't think the dress was really that impressive, but you had a bunch of people Smith this thing is so. What was the word that somebody used? It was so forward thinking. What does that mean? I'm being dead ass serious. What does that mean? This is coming from a person who used to sit there and watch Project Runway with their ex girlfriend. What does forward thinking means for a dress? I genuinely want to know. I didn't think the dress was really that impressive. Everyone was talking about how stunning she looks, and I'm just like, really? This woman's jaw looks like it can cut glass, but okay, sure, all right, that's okay, all right. Seems like there's gonna be a bit of issues, some tension between um Nicholas and Philip because, to be honest, Phyllis, because Phyllis doesn't. There's Philip. There's too many damn Phyllises. Um, Phyllis doesn't like the fact that how Victoria is treating her brother, and I don't think anyone does. Um, he didn't even want to go into the ceremony, and there was a couple of times where he was being kind of dickish to her. He apologized, but it was like, all right, he apologized, and then he just walked right on out when she was in the middle of her sentence. I'm like, well, I don't really understand why is Nicholas so harsh on Phyllis. Like, I get that you don't want somebody to sit there and talk about your baby sister or whatever, and no matter what's going on in someone's life, or what's going on, you're gonna sit there and protect your sister, your siblings at all costs. But come on, bro, you grew up with this woman. Okay, let's not sit there and try to act like this amount of smoke isn't unwanted. This isn't the first time somebody has had trouble with her. So why are you sitting there looking at Phyllis like like Phyllis is sitting there feeling like she's walking on eggshells, um, because she don't want to say anything too bad. I'm like, girl, I don't blame you. I've literally been watching this show for about like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm just like, I I don't like the woman. Um, yeah, I don't like the woman. I don't like the woman at all. Um, we got Tess. Seems like she's having a lot of issues with Mariah. Like, Tess calls up Mariah to see how she's doing, and Mariah practically just, um, she totally ignores her. There's one point where it just seems like she doesn't want to talk to her. Like, there's one point where Tess is like, "And I love you," and Mariah's like, "Me too." Wow, me too. Somebody says that they love you, and your response is, "Me too." So the whole time when she's at this wedding, she's singing and stuff like that. But when she's sitting there talking to Noah, you can tell that she seems like she's bummed. And, she finally talks to Noah again towards, I think, today's episode, or, well, the 15th episode. And she's like, she misses her girlfriend. Like, yo, listen, your girlfriend needs, like, psychiatry. Like, she needs to sit down with a therapist. This whole, you know, baby rush thing isn't working for anyone. And I feel like it's one of those things. Why is it? I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, you don't seem like you want to have a baby right now. She does. And it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And talking is not working. I think they need counseling, or she needs therapists, or she needs therapy. One of the two. Now I know Ashlyn. I don't know the extent of everything that he's done, but him lying to Victoria about his past and everything like that. It seems like she's totally forgiven him. Um, I think the only thing I actually feel bad about with Ashlyn is his health, because I don't really like bringing up the C word, because I know it's very touchy subject for everyone. But seeing him, being all ill and everything like that, and it's I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to watch. Um, there are some characters in this show that I feel like don't really bring much to anything. Like, they don't really bring much to the table. Like, Nate was not there this whole time. It's not even that he had writer's block. He just couldn't really come up with a good speech, because let's be honest, he hasn't known this guy for that very long, and it's like he's supposed to sit there and say like a toast and everything like that. So this whole time, and he's talking to Elena, which I'm not gonna lie, is another useless character, to be honest. There's characters in this show, like Jack was not there talking to Phyllis, and I'm just like, bro, what is your role in this show? Like, what do you what does he contribute to this show? Is he working with Billy? Like, are they some sort of like? I know, like, Billy works in the news department and stuff like that. He's a reporter, and I guess like maybe Jack is the editor. But this whole time he's sitting there talking to Phyllis. I'm just like, what do you bring to this table? Like, I felt like when I was sitting there watching it, I was just like, man, this is another reason why I feel like this show is so damn boring. Um, Watching Phyllis talk to Jack, it just, and I know that I need to give this show more of a chance, because, well, to be honest, I was really contemplating even doing this review. Um, because this show is so boring. Like there's conversation, there's characters that come into the show, and I guess it's nice to see for like a fan favorite or whatever. Like I'll put it this way: whenever they have Robin on General Hospital, it's she's a fan favorite. So she comes in and she says hi and she does her whatever, and people are happy and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be honest: if I was watching it for the first time, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. You're here or whatever. Now I've been watching that show for a long time, and I know Robin has literally grown up on that show, which makes her coming back so special. So I can understand why people are happy that you got Summer back, and I guess her husband Kyle is back or whatever, or he's in the picture. But I'm just like, bro, what did these characters bring to the table? Like, what did Noah bring to the table? I honestly tell you the truth, I felt like okay, so Noah's not there talking to his dad, and he's all like, because Nicholas wants to leave, and I don't blame him. But Noah's like, listen, if you love your sister and you want to sit there and try to make it work, don't give up. He gives him the pep talk that his dad gave him X amount of years ago. So he decides to stay. But here's the thing, though. He doesn't go to the actual wedding. He doesn't go to the ceremony. He just decides to stay. So it's like, it's like, what was Noah's purpose on being in some of these episodes? What was his purpose? Like, to be honest, I didn't really know much about the guy, but hearing how he was to talk about like his struggles as an artist and stuff like that, I'm like, all right, I can kind of feel you to some extent because I do well technically content creating is I guess somewhat artistry or you're creating stuff, so you're doing art in some sort of way. So I can understand his struggles as an extent, but I'm just like, bro, what did you bring to the table? I mean, hell, I could sit there and say, I would have loved to sat there and say, hey, you know what? Listen, you bring your dad to the wedding. He went to the ceremony and everything like that, but he didn't even go to the ceremony. So again, what was your purpose, bro? What was your purpose? What was Colin Summers' purpose? Hell, even Sally had more of a purpose. I mean, like she came there, she brung the dress, and she wore the dress, and everyone liked it. So Sally brung something to the table. Adam Adam was there, so that's cool. Um, by the way, did anyone know, or for people that don't know, the woman who plays Sally and the woman who plays Sally and the man who plays Michael on General Hospital are like a real life couple. And I always sit there and wonder how do they actually do these scenes and not get like an ounce a bit of jealousy? Like, how does that work? I just like watching, Sally kiss Adam is like, I was sitting there and I was like, bro, you cool with that? But then I'm just like watching stuff from General Hospital and I'm like, well, I guess you have to be cool with that because the things you are doing, man. By the way, does anyone actually even like bother to go with tradition whatsoever? Because from what I understand is that you know the the man and the groom. I mean the husband and wife are not supposed to see each other the day before the wedding. Okay, not supposed to see each other the day before the wedding. And yet, as I'm sitting there watching this, I'm just like, bro, isn't the wedding like tomorrow? So you shouldn't be seeing her. And not only is he seeing her, they wake up in the same bed. I'm like, so we we don't do tradition anymore. That's just out the window. It was something that I noticed when I was sitting there watching it. While I was, to be honest, I was bored to tears. I was just like, so you just I don't know. I feel like one day, when I find a right woman or whatever, and I marry them and stuff like that, I want to sit there and follow some tradition. I want to make sure that you know things don't go wrong simply because I didn't follow X, Y, and Z. And it's just like, bro, like really, even just throwing tradition out the window. It's like you can't wait one more day. Like you're gonna sit there and marry this woman for the rest of your life. Like Like, did you really have to sleep next to her the day before the wedding? It just, it threw me off, and I'm just like, really? Okay, sure. You know, I can understand why Brock TV does not review this all the time. And at first, when I started doing, when I started like doing these soap operas or whatever, and then like watching him do some of these reviews, I didn't want to be, I didn't want to be inconsistent. You know, there's a lot of times where Brock TV will sit there and do, his main thing. It seems like he does is General Hospital, which is great because I do it too. Every once in a blue moon, he'll do Days of Our Lives, and sometimes he'll sit there and do B&B or Y&R. And I'm just like, I don't understand how, like, I mean, he has such a huge subscriber base that he gets numbers, and he's very good at what he does. But like for me, like if I'm sitting there watching reviews and stuff like that, or if I want to watch it for a specific review, it just comes across as so inconsistent. But after watching this show for about 2 or 3 weeks, oh my goodness, I can understand why he doesn't like review it as much, because he probably doesn't watch it as much. Because I don't understand how people could just sit there and just watch this. Like, I don't understand how people could sit there and watch this daily. There is a bit of intrigue in this story. Okay, there are some very interesting characters. Um, again, you got Victor, you got Billy. Um, Phyllis is sort of interesting. I feel like she reminds me a little bit of, I don't know. I wanted to sit there and say Carly, but I don't really know Phyllis' history, so I can't really sit there and say that. Um, I don't really know much about Nicholas. Um, Adam seems like a dick at times. He also seems extremely. I don't know, he comes off a bit arrogant. Sally is Sally, so like that's cool, I guess. Um, second. I don't know. I don't think that this is a. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm gonna be honest. I was gonna sit there and say I don't think this is a bad show, but after watching all four shows, this has got to be the most boringest show. And here's the thing: I say that with a grain of salt because I know, like, my gut is that they're telling me, all right, why don't you keep watching it? Just keep watching it and see how it flows. Um, and I'm pretty sure people watch General Hospital and they just caught it like on a random Wednesday. They may not find it so interesting. Um, and how even at times B&B can be not necessarily boring, but it takes a little bit for stuff to happen. But this show, like watching this wedding. I mean, granted, I haven't really found a lot of wedding stuff that I found interesting, but just even watching some of these characters, like watching Nate and Elena just walk around and talk about how beautiful Tuscany is and how he has writer's block, and I'm like, bro, I don't care. I don't care. Um, Mariah's stuff is a little bit interesting, especially when her dealing with um, Abby and Davon. I find that stuff kind of interesting, to be honest. But some of this stuff, like Victoria is, you know what? The sad thing is that Victoria is annoying to watch. But I'll be lying if I didn't sit there and say I want to see what goes on in this woman's world with Ashlyn and Billy and everything like. Don't get me wrong. I find her to be annoying and a bitch, but I don't find her to be boring. And I can honestly sit there and say I'd rather be mad at a character than be bored with characters. Like Nate and Elena has not brought a damn thing to the table. Noah, Kyle, and Summer, I felt like they were just there to be there. For fan service that like those characters, but they didn't really do too much of anything. Um, and they spend so many times, they spend so many scenes with them. It's just like, I know I'm calling this a review from point A to point B, but I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this is more of a complaint feel like I'm more complaining than anything else. I just wish that this show would be a lot more better than this. And watching these episodes have just been extremely difficult to sit there and get through. I don't understand how anyone can actually watch this show straightforward. I feel like I don't know if I'm gonna take a break. There's a good chance if you don't see me do a review on Y&R, it's probably because I took a break from the show because this, like, I know people can sit there and say, oh, you know, I watch some of these episodes sometimes and then I get out and I come back and it's like I don't really miss much. And never really quite understood that. But then watching this show, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can understand that now. Maybe I get that. But GH and Days, sometimes it does move at a fast pace. Bold and the Beautiful, it kind of depends. This show, goodness. Was All My Children like this? I vaguely remember watching a little bit of it, and I stopped watching it, and somewhere along the lines, I felt like I regretted it. And I don't want to sit there and regret not watching this show, but I don't understand how anyone actually just watches this straightforward. I don't get it. Oh my goodness. Well, gotta sit there and say that I feel a lot better. It almost reminds me of the first time I watched GH. I mean, the first time I did a review on GH because I was so angry with the character. And I feel like this with like doing this review. I was so annoyed. I was so bored watching this episode that there was points I actually had to fast forward through a lot of this episode through October 15th, that episode. I had to fast forward through a lot of it because it was so boring. Like, I didn't care that they were getting married. I didn't care about their stupid vows. I didn't care about the side talk when this snitch is saying, oh, her dress looks stunning. It's I just didn't care. And I know that's part of soap operas, along with the romance and everything like that. And there's certain things that I can enjoy about a soap opera, and other things like I don't really care about the super couples a lot of times, but I do care about. I don't care about super couples, but I do care about when I watch two people and how they go back and forth. Like Jason and Britt, people care about them as a couple. I care about them as far as like the lines that they say, if they're funny, if it's interesting, that stuff. I did not care about this episode, and I don't know if I'm gonna watch this show moving forward. I know I already said that, but jeez, my goodness. I guess my last question is, how does anyone actually watch this show? What? Okay, you know what? The better question is, what do you like about this show? Who are your favorite characters? Um, yeah, who are your favorite characters? Who are the characters that you don't like? And what do you like about this show? I will be reading comments unless YouTube decides for smart reason to, um, well, you know, make comments disappear because apparently that's the thing. Which is so annoying. But write your comments down below. I love to definitely sit there and read them. I love to read them. I love to read them in general, but specifically on this show because my goodness, I don't know about the show moving forward. Like I said, I may dip in and dip out and watch it from time to time. It's annoying to me because it took me so long to sit there and remember these characters' names, which I'm really proud of. But at the same time, this show is so boring. Oh my goodness, this show is boring. It has its interesting stuff, but I feel like the bad is outweighing the good in this show, and I don't know. Anyway, write your comments down below. I love to read them. And I'll see you in the next video.